Well, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you just joining us, we are just a little over 15 minutes away from first horse, and it is the next of those international show jumping competitions. We're on the build-up, of course, to the Longines FEI World Cup qualifier of Lexington, which is to take place tomorrow evening. But a lot to see. We have the Junior Amateur Show Jumping Hall of Fame final tomorrow as well, and Sunday, of course, the McLean finals here at the 2022 National Horse Show. But at the moment, it's going to be all about the show jumping. It's all about the international two-phase competition. And in the arena, my friend and colleague John Kyle is going to describe the course.
1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. There we are. That is the power of the voice of God. He can say he's my friend, and it's not true at all. Ladies and gentlemen, two-phase competition coming up tonight. We've got 30 of the very best, part of our World Cup tour. It is a two-phase, power and speed competition, as we used to call them back in the day. So Guilherme Jorge of Brazil, his first phase track, kind of comes to its conclusion here. I'm just standing in this line between the horse flight on this related distance down to quite an airy double at 7 AB. You can see he's set them up here on the slope and opposite on the two-stride distance. Looks like quite a long two-stride in here. And it seems like, talking to one or two of the riders, just the distances in here tonight, he's just set them all up that they have to come in with a plan. Now, another place then that you need a plan in a two-phase competition is they come away from this double and around to number 8, which will be the last in the first phase. If they're going to progress, then it's about ringcraft for the riders, because the second phase, if you get there and you need to be free of faults, jumping or time in the first phase to go on, and you need to be very then conscious of where your second phase starts. And it starts here. There's the timer, there's the timer. So the time that will decide the ultimate winner of the class starts here. And this is an interesting distance as well. I saw Kristen van der Veen walking this several times. It looks like you've either got to be in here on the inside or out on the outside to get a true number of strides coming around to this double at 9A and B at the beginning of the second phase. Now, of course, if you're coming on the slight inside line, you're going this way at the double. If you're on the slight outside line, you're going this way at the oxer. You need to straighten all that up and get ready for where you're going afterwards. And where you're going, because you're inside the clock, is almost certainly to try and land, moving and turning inside and getting through this gap here. You don't want to be too far over to the horse's heads, though. You probably want to be just here, because you've got to try and pick up this rood and riddle jump. And again, you've got a choice, because you can either come on this angle, jumping left of center, landing right of center, and then tidying up your turn the far side, or you make your turn a little bit wider here, and you land going that way. From there, he's got quite a long gallop set up for you, all the way back down the ring. Number 11 is the Longines, next on course in the second phase. So he really does push you up and down the ring here against the clock. I do just remind myself. So from that, with the water tray underneath as well, going down towards the end of the ring, they've then got to find the best path through. And probably inside the B there of the green and white double. We'll see if the camera crew get through there. No, they're not even going to try. So they'll be choosing some route through here to get them on a good spot. And it could be quite easily that you just find yourself a little bit too close to this when you come out of your turn. But again, then you want to be right for this. You need to be right for the distance. You need to be right for the big oxer down there at the end, red and white at 13. And it's not over there either. So they'll manage their stride pattern up here. They'll be going all out if they're trying to win this class, because it's a very good field of horses and riders. Over this, and then we're looking for the route. We're certainly, when we land, we've got this as open to us. This should be no problem. We go through here. The question then is, do you go there to the final oxer, or do you come around the lamp standards, keeping your rhythm up? And the rhythm should give you speed and get a nicer spot. It's a big square oxer to be coming in there oblique, but for riders of this quality, horses of this quality, it is possible, and that might just be the winning line, but it's a very, very wide oxer to complete. It's not the sort of oxer you would necessarily want to make any wider by jumping on the angle. And of course then, if you are jumping on that angle, you're giving the horse the impression that they're jumping into the wall, into the bleachers. So you've got to consider that as well. So as we say, it's a two-phase. It is a normal two-phase, so they must jump the first phase without faults, jumping or time, and then they can progress to that second phase, and it will be faults across both phases and the time in the second that will decide our ultimate victor of tonight's international class at the National Horse Show. Andrew, back up to you.
Thank you to my colleague, John Kyle. So, as I mentioned, we are on the build-up, of course, to that North American League FEI World Cup qualifier of Lexington. Honoured and proud to have the continued support of the title partner and official timekeeper, Longines. The Longines FEI Jumping World Cup is one of the most prestigious series on the international jumping calendar. 12 leagues make the series truly global and provide athletes from all around the world with an opportunity to qualify for the final next year, taking place in Omaha, Nebraska in April of 2023. Thank you so much to Longines. They're the title partner, the official timekeeper of the series, and their involvement and passion for equestrian world dating back to 1869.
For many, life is a daily struggle just to survive. What is our vision? A world in which working classes, donkeys, and mules are free from suffering, are better able to support families and depend on them, and positively affect the economies of their nations. With your help, we can improve the welfare of these hard-working equines. Join us at BookUSA.org.
Horseplay is excellence in international shipping. We like to say when you fly with us, you fly first class.
Horseplay was started by professionals in this industry, so if your horse is next to our horse, that means they're getting the best care, the best attention, the best service possible during their travels.
I felt like I could give something back to the clients, and that's what we try to do. We give first best service, give us a call. Call us, and you get your horse.
is essential, but it also gives you the freedom to do the things you love. Make safe exciting with Safe Choice.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Lexington, Kentucky, the 139th National Horse Show, and it's Longines FEI Jumping World Cup week as well. Kristen van der Veen is going to get us underway in tonight's international two-phase competition, part of the speed tour here with Faustino de Teri, and she could easily be a long-time leader here if she can leave them all standing in this two-phase format. Two-time Olympian Samwell goes early in the draws. Zena, the defending McLean champion, of course, her title will be given elsewhere on Sunday here, but fantastic to have another McLean rider amongst the international jumpers. Devin Ryan and Hangover. Devin with the win in the welcome last night with the great Eddie Blue. Skyler Riley, very chic to tee yards. Skyler's had an incredible year this year with Robin de Ponthul, winning the Upperville Grand Prix, going to the World Cup finals as well. Charlotte Jacobs, just back from Europe with Rinkula Millshawn. McLean Ward, Elias is his ride tonight for the US Olympian. Alexa Pessoa, Carlito's Way will be 12th of just over 30 going to start our two-phase. Molly Ashkoli, also a World Cup finalist for the USA, a career winner of the Longines Grand Prix of Ireland. There's the second ride for Zena. Heather Caristo-Williams, Giovanna Rinaldi, Giovanna who went very well with us yesterday. Grace Debney, who had a good result for Great Britain. Santiago Lambre and Casey will fly the flag for Brazil, one of a couple of Brazilian riders we have. And Santiago, an Olympian back in the day in Sydney. Nick Della Gioia, who went so well yesterday. Kelly Cruciotti van der Veen. Daniel Blumen. Daniel's been having a good 2 weeks between here and Washington. Alex Granato and Helios going to go in that group as well. Winner of the welcome at the Split Rock in June for Helios and Alex Granato. Shane Sweetenham out of the Blue SCF, the young Spy Coast horse that he's been riding in the supporting classes last week at Washington and also here this week at the National Horse Show. Mark Blumen, our winner of the speed yesterday. Evan Coluccio and Egolini. Evan Coluccio also having a good 2 weeks of World Cup jumping. And Daniel Coyle and Oak Grove's Carlisle, his Rotterdam Nations Cup 5-star Grand Prix winner, will go last of 30 that we will see in tonight's $37,000 T&R Development two-phase competition. A couple of moments away from the start of competition here at the 139th National Horse Show. Stay with us. All the action coming up in just a few moments' time.
Leto, who's had a good run in 5-star competition in Socrates, New York, earlier in the year. Now, there has been plenty going on. Take a look at the big screen around the show farm.
So here is our first to go tonight. Kristen van der Veen. Kristen with bull runs Faustino de Teri. Now 17 years old, Faustino. It's been a tremendous horse for Kristen van der Veen. Kristen, a two-time World Cup finalist. She attended her second finals at Leipzig in Germany this spring. And as well as many, many successes, particularly against the clock here in the US. Kristen has done a couple of seasons in Europe and taken some top 10 finishes in five-star Grand Prix like Lausanne at the Masters and Ascona, the Longines Ascona horse show in Switzerland as well. So two-phase competition, 1 to 8 is going to be Guilherme Schorsch's first phase track, and then he has them set straight into quite a tough, actually, timed section. Guilherme only got 9 clears in his welcome last night. In fact, 8 clears to go through to the jump-off. So he's setting quite a high standard for the horses and riders this week. Kristen just coming back. No need for inside turns really in this first phase. 51 seconds the time allowed, though. They do need to be conscious of that. From the horse flight here down to quite an open double. And then they have to manage this turn. Now the timing beams to start the second phase are just behind this double. You can see there the changeover. And Kristen through the double, sneaks inside here on her way to the Ruden Riddle. Now she jumps from left of center, landing right of center, and then brings it down to the Longines. Looking again for the inside, gets through the middle of the double up to the Phelps Media group. It comes with her though. Let's see what line she takes to the last. She's going to go outside the Lamp Standard Oxer. I think you have to be very daring to go inside. She sets the standard 29.08 with 4 in the second phase.
From Kristen van der Veen to Kelly Christiotti van der Veen, a great showing in the Longines FEI World Cup finals in Gothenburg back in 2019. Winner in Michigan through the year, 5-star winner at New York in the fall.
So here is just the knock. It's so difficult. They've got to really manage that turn. And I think it'll be interesting to see whether they're all going to go just inside that double or there is one more gap, one stride further out to go around the B element of the double on the way to the Phelps group fence. Well, with Forever SFN, Kelly Christiotti van der Veen. Kelly, who had a 1-2-3 in a jump-off class at Saugerties this year, had a top 10 in the 2-star Grand Prix at the Hamptons, and a top 10 also in a 3-star Grand Prix at Tryon. A career Devon Grand Prix winner, a career equitation medal winner. Forever SFN and Kelly were runners-up in our speed yesterday. So again, another one that could be a good reference here if they can stay clear. Beefy enough competition as well, let's not forget. It's meter 50 standard tonight. That gap there behind the B and inside the stone pillars is maybe where we're going to see people start to go on the way to the Phelps. I might be wrong. They might all still try and stay inside the double like Kristen van der Veen did. So, not going to go inside the lamp standards here, back to the Ruden Riddle. Kelly Christiotti van der Veen and Forever kind of settling in for the clear and seeing how valuable that ends up being. Because others who try a lot harder, there she goes for the gap I was just talking about, others who try a lot harder have much more risk of taking a pole with them. She does here, of course. This is no problem to get inside the Ruden Riddle. She goes around the lamp standards and comes home, and it's not massively slower. 31.53 for Kelly Christiotti van der Veen, and it's our first double clear.
Samwell is next, the Chilean international. He's represented Chile at Olympic and World Championships. He was a big winner at 5-star level through his career and just 5th in the $100,000 Grand Prix here in Kentucky a month or so ago. Riding Bugazee, placed by Chester for Chile, Samwell.
A career Nations Cup Grand Prix winner at the Winter Equestrian Festival, Samwell Parro. Samwell, two-time Olympian for Chile, rides Bugazee. 31.53 is now the time to beat, but again, of course, in order to take that on, they have to be clear in the first phase. Everyone has been so far. Buga, the 12-year-old by the Sangasha sire Chester. Well, as soon as I say everyone's going clear in the first phase, Samwell just has a rail, so he won't go on to the timed section. It's a little bit like the first round of a jump-off class. Those who don't go on will be ranked according to Fulton time, but Samwell, expecting quite a few, will go clear and on to the timed section, elects to retire.
Retiring there, the early rail down and retiring with Bugazee. So 3 have gone for around 30 starters in this one. Forever SFM the sole clear so far. 31.53 going in both of the phases.
Well, thanks to TNR Development for the sponsorship of this competition here at the 139th National Horse Show. We go on to the McLean champion, Zena with Exquis du Pachi. I think so. Exquis du Pachi, Zena for the USA. So jumped the international tour here last year as well, whilst also riding on through the McLean. Stepped up to 5-star for the first time in her career this year at the Hampton Classic, having been individual young rider gold medalist this year at the North American Youth Championships presented by Gotham North. Jumps that little stone wall fence down at the bottom of the course. He hasn't used too much the line going away from the in-gate that was quite valuable for Guilherme Schorsch, the designer, in yesterday's 2 international classes. He's probably just put a bit of a sting in the tail of the first phase, with number 8 going away from the in-gate in that sort of area of the ring. Zena comfortably through the first phase, just puts herself a little bit left of center there because they're just looking for the distance. It's not a true distance up to the double. Goes the inside line following Kristen van der Veen. And well inside the double, a very neat turn. Also touches the Phelps, but it stays for her. Zena goes out around the lamp standards. We'll see if anyone's going to sneak in that final line, but just didn't get a very clean jump over the last. You can see the horse just hesitated, turned himself inside out a little bit. Zena and Exquis du Pachi have 4 faults in 31.35. So interestingly, they took the lines, but they weren't necessarily traveling quite as fast as some of the others.
This 11-year-old is by Ashkoli with Carlito lines as well. Frosty HD, the USA's Jessica Leto.
Jessica Leto and Frosty HD on course now. Jessica, who is 4th in a 5-star Grand Prix at Saugerties in September and rode World Cup for the first time in her career this spring at Live Oak in Ocala, Florida. So that being judged as a refusal. Very nearly it was a fall, and the hand goes up. I think she's actually going to retire after that. She just felt, you know, right from the get-go, like she was kind of having to gun this horse. We'll see what she does. I did see the hand go up, but looks like actually she's going to carry on. So jumps the Neutrina for and quite a lot of time.
So going out in the first phase, it ends up being full sound time, 54.76 on the clock, means it's going to be 12 for jumping, 4 for time, 16 in all.
Leto and Frosty HD 16 in the first phase. Jos Loy's been a championship medalist, team gold, team and individual bronze medalist at European Championship level. Is currently in the top 50 in the world rankings. Winner at Nations Cup.
Jos Loy is our next to go. Jos, who's been riding at top championship level for Belgium for a long time, is still not long out of the U25 ranks of our sport. Newmarket influences Jos's ride tonight. Jos, who picked up points for a top 10 finish at Washington with his World Championships ride Igor last weekend. So on course, one of the highest ranked riders with us, just outside the world's top 50. Jos would have loved to have challenged for a slightly higher placing in Washington. He missed out on the jump off with Igor last week. But points for 10th won't be too bad. Just riding these North American League shows will help him with the points to be a big part of the Western European League later in the season. Of course, he'll have the invite as one of the top Belgian riders to their home World Cup show at McLean between Christmas and New Year. So on into the second phase, and looking on the inside line here, just skates over the top of that rail and has it with him. The back rail off the A element of the double, so straight into faults as soon as the timed second section starts. He's really, Guillermo Georges, increased the test there by making it a double, because the line he's set, the curve, and the stride, even if it was just the oxer, would be very tough. And you know, I'm not surprised to see that oxer come down as Jos just goes out a little bit wide here on the way home, just looking to make sure of every jump before he finishes. 39.29, just inside the second phase time allowed of 40. So he has 4 faults and goes 4th.
Devin had been a runner-up at the World Cup finals. He was runner-up in Paris, in fact, in 2018. Yesterday, with Eddie Blue, he took victory in the Welcome.
The winner of the Welcome yesterday,
Well, now riding Hangover.
Devin Ryan. Devin, who has already picked up points for 4th in Washington last weekend on the North American League of the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup Series. Devin here with the horse that was his second horse in Washington as well, the 10-year-old Action Breaker son, Hangover. Hangover winning quite a few of the speed classes for Devin last week. With Eddie concentrating on the Welcome in the World Cup. Five strides down there, just bottles up slightly for the second. Inside that double of verticals and on into the timed section. Looks for the inside spot here, back to Rude and Riddle. Just jumps across the fence, finishes the arc of his turn afterwards. On the way down now to Longines, you can see Devin already making the shape of the turn, thinking about it before he committed to the Longines, so he gets a very smooth roll back to the Phelps. 31.53 to beat. He goes out around the lamp standards. 31.53, it's not going to be quite there. But it's double clear, 33.44, and second place for Devin Ryan and Hangover at this stage.
Devin Ryan and Hangover, Kelly Cruciotti van der Veen retains her lead with a clear in 31.53. From Devin Ryan, we welcome Brazil's Rodrigo, an Olympic gold medalist, a World Championship gold medalist, and three-time Longines World Cup Finals winner. He's a former world #1.
Good round from Devin Ryan to go into second, just 2 double clears so far. Kelly Cruciotti van der Veen leads Devin Ryan in second of an all-US double clear ranking. Rodrigo Pessoa would like to get on there for Brazil. This is the 10-year-old mare Chile for Artemis Equestrian, who've been great supporters of Rodrigo over recent seasons. The 3-time World Cup winner. Rode in the Final Four in the World Championships here in Kentucky when he was the reigning world champion. Had a good result in a speed class, the Table C format, last week in Washington. Just takes a little bit of a hop and skip through that double on the way home. Comes in clear in the first phase. 6 strides. Holding at the last for Rodrigo because he wants that inside line. He's very, very quick here. Super positive down here to the Longines. Just unfortunately, just a little bit forward and flat, I would say. Such a shame because this is going to be a blistering time. Rodrigo, it's another horse to just sort of jump right up in the air and not really feel like they're going to make the difference to that back bar over the last. There's something just maybe in that spot of the ring that they're seeing or feeling. But Rodrigo is 4 faults in 29.52. Kristen van der Veen was actually faster, but I would say if Rodrigo had been keeping up the pace all the way around, he would have been there in 27.28. Well, Skyler Riley. Skyler, who rode in her 4th World Cup Finals this spring. Skyler here with very chic du Tillard by Diamante Semi. Skyler was the runner-up at Devon this year, the winner of Upperville with the other horse that she has here, Robin de Pontoul. I think one of the things that's fantastic about this as a venue for indoor jumping is the width on the ring. It really allows the designers to do quite a bit with their lines, especially when it comes up into a big Grand Prix where every fence in the ring is purely geared towards their initial round of jumping. But it gives them a lot of option, particularly with the triple combination. A lot of smaller venues, you know, they have to design around that triple, and the triple can really only go in 1 or 2 set places, probably on the long diagonal. So Skyler sneaking here in to the Rude and Riddle. Nothing like as positive as Rodrigo coming down here to the Longines fence, but that may be counted against him. Gets a very sweet turn here back to the Phelps, but just bashes through that, just comes up maybe a little bit between 2 spots to the Phelps, the turn they ended up on. 32.97 with the 4 faults. We've had a few faster 4 faulters than that, so Skyler will go into 6th place.
6th place, Kelly Cruciotti van der Veen and Devin Ryan at the 2 clears, clear in both phases. Then Kristen van der Veen currently in the podium places with a very fast 4
in third place. A rider who based herself very much in Europe through the summer months, but returning to the USA.
Charlotte Jacobs is our next to go. Charlotte with North Stars Rinkula Millshawn.
Lexington a month ago. Rinkula Millshawn for Charlotte Jacobs, USA.
US Nations Cup rider over in Europe this year, where she was based for the summer, represented the US at the legs at Lisbon and Madrid of the Longines FEI Nations Cup Series. Rinkula Millshawn recently second in a Grand Prix down at Tryon, having come back from Europe, where they were on the leaderboards, the likes of the Balmoral Show in Belfast in Northern Ireland, and had some very good results in five-star competition at the Royal International at Hickstead, the British Nations Cup show. Rides a +5 down there to the double again. They're all just finding then, having come down on the 5, that they have to shorten a little bit inside the double distance. Six gets the turn then after the double over the Rood and Riddle. I'm not surprised to see this similarly positive to Rodrigo Pessoa. Taps that back rail, it stays in place, but you could see there that Charlotte wasn't just able to really open the throttles with Rinkula Millshawn. She was holding and moving the head all the way down just to maintain control and balance. It is double clear, it's 31.45, and it is just in front. Kelly Cruciotti van der Veen drops to second. Charlotte Jacobs, Rinkula Millshawn are the ones to beat now, 31.45, but there's only 0.08 in it. It is very, very close.
Victory in the Longines World Cup finals in the last running at Omaha in 2017 was McLean Ward, and McLean joins us as the
five-time winner of the big class here at the National Horse Show. McLean Ward, US Championship medalist, US Olympic medalist. McLean was the winner of the World Cup finals when they were held at Omaha before. So McLean will definitely be wanting to try and qualify, but I think a lot more riders all around the world looking to qualify this time for Omaha after a lot maybe sat on the benches. They were unfamiliar with the venue. It had never actually run a World Cup qualifier show previously, and then a lot of people were watching it and experiencing it and talking to people who were there and going, I made the wrong choice, I missed out. And Omaha, now that it is back as a second finals, is on everyone's radar. So all zero so far for McLean with Elias. Elias didn't jump that well for McLean here yesterday. So we'll see whether he will really open the taps when it gets into the timed second phase, or whether he's just got a bit of a job to do here of just giving the horse a nice experience in the ring. McLean goes for the inside here. Straight at that top rail, unfortunately, for McLean. At the Rood and Riddle. Takes a real half halt on the way down there. Sneaks around behind the double on the way to the Phelps Media Group. So 4 faults early on in the timed second phase for McLean and Elias. It's steady on the ground there for 38.02. So going into 8th place.
We saw Rodrigo Pessoa a little earlier with Chile, and he had a quick time with 4 faults. Alexa Pessoa follows though. Placings in European competition throughout the summer months.
Well, this combination we saw take a top 10 in the two-star Grand Prix at the Longines Global Champions Tour venue in London. Alexa Pessoa, Carlito's way. Top 10 in the winning round class recently at Greenwich in Connecticut as well. Just 3 double clears so far. So Alexa looking to get this first round under her belt, or the first phase. Makes a great preparation for that turn going through the double. Balances here a little bit before the Rudin Riddle, doesn't get the most comfy of jumps. Also sometimes misinterpret that steadying for balance into, you know, a question about, are we actually going to take on this fence? Looking set for a double clear here. Won't challenge the leader, but double clear is good. Double clear will go top 4. And with a time of 36.19, it is 4th for Alexa Pessoa.
Fourth place for Carlito's way and Alexa Pessoa. Molly Ashkoli now still looking to chase down 31.45 clear in that second phase. Molly's been top 10 in the Longines World Cup finals, a winning Nations Cup rider for the USA, and a Grand Prix winner here in Kentucky already through 2022. Riding this mare by Mystique, it's the 11-year-old Birdian.
Birdian is the ride for Molly Ashkoli now, the 2-time World Cup finalist. Winner last year of the Pennsylvania National, winner of a very good outdoor Grand Prix here at the Kentucky Horse Park this summer on the Split Rock Jumping Tour. So unfortunately Molly will go out in the first phase, just taking the rail off the back of the lamp standards up there at the top of the ring. Birdian just solos off the top rail, going into the double as well. It stays, so it's just 4 faults in the first phase for Molly Ashkoli and Birdian. So not making it through to the second phase, they will go just outside our top 10, 11th best.
Zena joined us then with a second ride. Zena, who we saw a little earlier on with a pretty quick time, but 4 faults with Esprit de Pachy. Now joining us with Exit of Ice Z, the USA's Zena Risby.
Zena Risby back with a second ride for Zena. This is North Run and Missy Clark's Exit of Ice Z. Exit of Ice, the former horse of Geir Gulliksen, the Norwegian Olympian, and his son Johann Sebastian. Now with Zena here in the USA. Not the noise you want to hear early on in your round. It stays, but it was a loud, loud rub. Still on the 0 though, coming around to the end of the first phase. Zena has been in the second phase already with Exquise du Pachi. Can she be double clear here with her relatively new jumper ride exit device? Just wasn't quite set up for that turn. She thought about it, but she had gone past it. Just pushed there at the last moment. It's a bit of a shame because actually having had the missed turn, logic would have suggested that maybe you just sit in, you ride for the clear, and you see how valuable it ends up being. 4 and 35.91 will go down the order into 9th place. Zena's other horse sits 7th.
This time with the exit of Ice Z. The Kristen Williams is going to follow. We saw her competing yesterday. We've seen her compete on the Nations.
Next up, Heather Caristo-Williams, Stephanie Bulger's Marciano MVF. Heather and Marciano were 10th in the 5-star Grand Prix at the Hamptons this year. Grand Prix winner this spring at the Winter Equestrian Festival as well. Heather has had plenty of World Cup qualifier podium finishes here on the North American League over the last few seasons. Has been over to some of the big shows in Europe, including riding on the US team at Falsterbo. Sees quite a long one up there to the lamps. So jumps through the A element and stops at the B. So they'll get that reset. Heather, of course, with the 8 faults, the rail and the stop won't be going through to the second phase. So the bell rings, ready to restart Heather. Let's see whether she's going to take on this double or just take a courtesy jump on her way out. Yep, just going to jump the first. Heather Caristo-Williams electing to retire.
Heather retiring there with the Marciano MVF.
So 4 double clears. Charlotte Jacobs leads. Double clear 31.45. Kelly Cruciotti van der Veen is second. Devin Ryan third. Alexa Pessoa in 4th. Our best 4-faulter was first to go. Kristen van der Veen 4 in 29.08. No surprise that Kristen is actually our fastest around the track so far in 29.08. None of the double clears have been as fast as that. So our next rider was a 5-star Grand Prix winner at Spruce Meadows this year. That was with our other horse, Cosmona. This is Carolo by Chaco Blue for Giovanna Rinaldi. US Nations Cup rider this year as well, the Spruce Meadows Masters and at Jalapa in Mexico. So Giovanna finished the first phase, going on 31.45 to beat, and unfortunately that is straight out the window with the back rail off that Oxer. It's only the second time it's happened. I thought it was probably going to be about the most influential fence in the second phase because of the way you're required to approach it and commit to it against the clock if you want to be competitive. So home in 35.92 on the clock. 4 jumping faults for Giovanna Rinaldi and Carollo.
The British challenge of Grace Debney now. Yesterday she finished 4th in that opening international speed competition here at the National Horse Show.
So this now coming up is going to be another of our young riders in the field. Grace Debney of Great Britain, Grace with Zarina Vido. The last 2 weeks, some good results for this pairing. 5th in the Table C speed competition at Washington and 4th in the meter 45 speed here yesterday afternoon for the young rider bronze medalist from the European Championships this year. And Grace went across to Europe and was part of that British team. Grace pretty quick. That's what we've seen round after round over the last 2 weeks in this indoor tour. Fortunately, just a little bit far off the lamps there, so ends up having to make a real effort to get to that back bar, and it's a little bit more than Zarina can do. So 4 faults in the first phase for Grace Debney and Zarina Vido to go into 13th place. 12 have made it through to the second phase, 4 of them double clear.
3.92. Still no change at the very top of the leaderboard. Casey is next for a championship rider for Brazil, Pan American Games, World Championships and Olympic level as well. He's had World Cup final appearances along the way. Riding Casey, this by Catani, the 12-year-old. It is for Brazil, Santiago Lambre.
Former Mexican Olympian now riding for the country of his birth once again, Brazil. This is Santiago Lambre. Santiago was top 10 in the American Gold Cup this year, 4th in the Split Rock Jumping Tour Invitational here at the Kentucky Horse Park during the Land Rover Kentucky 3-day event. He rides Casey for Mario Oñate. So just ticking off the fences here in the first phase. Santiago could be one to watch here. Charlotte Jacobs leading, 31.45. Santiago won't want to leave too many options on the table for those that follow him. 31.45, we know it's beatable. Kristen van der Veen did it, and he won't go on. He'll have the last down in the first phase, Santiago Lambre, and Casey will go out on 4.
Very fast 4 in the second phase is Kristen van der Veen and Bullrun's Faustino to Chile. A successful day yesterday for Nick Delajoyo, 5th in the opening international.
Yeah, probably our high point scorer at the moment on the International Jumper Tour. Nick Delajoyo and Contagos come forward. Nick and Contagos were 5th in the speed, and Nick with Cornets Cambridge were 5th in the Welcome. Nick, who stood runner-up with Cornets Cambridge to Shane Sweetenham in this year's American Gold Cup. A Nations Cup rider for the USA this year up in Spruce Meadows, and he's enjoyed success in Canada before, being a career winner of the Bromont in Montreal leg of the World Cup when that show was part of the North American League. just has this horse going in a very, very positive forward way. Makes you quite hopeful for the second phase. Said that about Santiago Lambre, and he went out in the first, but here we are. Nick Delajoyo through and challenging. 31.45 to beat. Scoots inside the lamps, touches that root and riddle, knocks it down and puts it back up almost. And he's on the angle here across the Longines, looking for the best turn possible back to the Phelps. As long as he's not too short, gets it. No! That's the problem. They're not just able to find the right spot up to the Phelps out of that tight inside turn. Look at this time, 30.03. Nick Delajoyo, unfortunately, with the 4 faults with Contagos in the second phase. He will actually go third best of the fours. Kristen van der Veen and Rodrigo Pessoa both faster, but Nick Delajoyo into 7th at the moment.
And she's going to join us with a second ride. This by Super Trooper Denez. Gideon for the USA's Kelly Christiotti van der Veen.
Well, Kelly Cruciotti van der Veen with Serenity Farms. Gideon goes next. Gideon was the horse that was top 10 in the 2-star Grand Prix at the Hamptons. Kelly, double clear earlier on, still holds on second place. No double clear this time around, though, with the second down in the initial phase, so no progression to the timed phase for Kelly Cruciotti, van der Veen and Gideon. 13 have made it through. So being belled out, having had the 4 in the first phase, Kelly Cruciotti and van der Veen. Kelly Cruciotti, van der Veen and Gideon. So 49.79 again. It's 51 seconds time allowed in that phase as well. So just getting inside the time. Another one just getting close into the front of an Oxer and taking the front rail away with them.
Qualifier here in Lexington last year. Second just last week in the World Cup qualifier of Washington. Riding Entano for Israel, Daniel Bloom.
So Daniel Blumen, second last week in the Washington leg of the World Cup Series. An Olympian for Colombia, a World Championship level rider for Israel. Been riding for them since the 2017 season. So a class winner last week at Washington, 4th in our welcome last night with the great Ladriano, but Entano and Daniel Blumen go out here in our first phase, actually picking up 8 faults in the first phase here of our TNR Developments 2 phase. About 10 more starters here. Still just 4 double clears. Charlotte Jacobs out in front, 31.45.
Member on many occasions, of course, for the USA. This is his numero uno side, Italian Helios van der Nossenhoven, the USA's Alex Bruno.
Winner of a welcome class, a big jump-off class during the June shows of the Split Rock Jumping Tour here in the Kentucky Horse Park with this horse. This is Helios van der Nossenhoven and Alex Granato. Alex, a Pan American Games medalist for the USA, Nations Cup Finals rider, and a 2-time winner of legs of the North American League of the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup. Alex and Helios still on the 0 score, coming around into the timed section. They clear the wide yellow and white rails and start off going down to this double and looking for their turn inside the lamps. 31.45 to beat. He's on a very, very oblique angle here to the Rood and Riddle. Keeps the pace up coming down to this Longines. He's already thinking about this turn as well, but the pole comes with him. Still just 4 double clears. Very nearly has the Phelps too. And does have that. That red and white might be gone for the first time here for Alex Granado and Helios van der Noshover. And through the last. So it's 12 jumping faults in 30 seconds for Alex Granado and Helios van der Noshover in the second phase.
Yeah, I hope all is okay there. The final fence, of course, also going, and 12 for Helios van der Noshover and Alex Granado in 30.31. Well, rider who was placed in both the opening speed and the welcome here at the National Horse Show just yesterday is Luis Francisco de Azevedo. He's represented Brazil at championship level, at World Championships and in Nations Cup competition too. This by Calandro is the 15-year-old gelding Colin for Brazil's Luis Francisco de Azevedo.
So another for Brazil now. Luis Francisco de Azevedo, championship rider, top 10 in a good Grand Prix here in the Split Rock Jumping Tour in September with a horse called Nashville that we saw last night. Luis Francisco was the fastest rider in both rounds of the welcome. Yesterday he was the fastest clear and ended up being the fastest in the jump off, but with rails with that horse Nashville. Today Colin by Colandro. So with the rail going through the double down, Luis Francisco de Azevedo and Colin are belled out of the first phase here of our TNR Developments 2 phase.
Luis Francisco de Azevedo and simply named Colin. Out of the blue, STF was placed yesterday in the speed competition for Shane Sweetnam. He went on to second in the international welcome with another horse, James Carn Cruz. Now riding though out of the blue, STF owned by Spy Coast Farm for Ireland, Shane Sweetnam.
So Shane Sweetnam out of the blue, SCF. Irish Olympian, Irish Championship medalist. Was third in the Table C speed class with this horse last week in Washington. The Spy Coast bred out of the blue, and of course second last night with James Carn Cruz in our welcome here. Just really steadies this young horse down, coming to the Rood and Riddle. He was on a great line there. He's just left of centre, just trying to save himself every second possible. So Shane Sweetnam out of the blue, 4 faults in the second phase, 4 in 30.44 seconds. That goes 8th place. Kristen van der Veen, Rodrigo Pessoa, Nick De La Joyo with faster 4 falters than him, and 4 with the double clears being led by Charlotte Jacobs.
6 at separate occasions, including at Olympics and at World Championships. He's picked up team and individual gold medals along the way. Riding Santana, it is for Colombia, Roberto Terán.
Colombia's Roberto Terán is next to go. Roberto tonight with Santana. He also has Desutov with him, the horse that was top 5 in the American Gold Cup this year and that he rode at this summer's World Championships in Herning. Just ponks the first part of the double, but it stays. Roberto Terán and Santana coming around now to finish the first phase, and they do so clean and go on very, very positively up here to the double. He goes outside. Is he just looking that the rhythm he can maintain at this speed by going out slightly wider there might be to his advantage? 31.45 to beat. He's wider here as well. But he is clean. He touches the Phelps. It's still rattling, but it's still there. 31.45 is not going to be doable, but he's going to be our 5th double clear by the looks of things. Yep. The time, 35.16, and it'll slot into 4th place, pushing Alexa Pessoa down to 5th.
4th place for Roberto Terán and Santana. 5 remain, 5 still to see. Still Charlotte Jacobs leading in 31.45. Evan Coluccio is the next, though. Had a very good day at the office yesterday. 3rd in the international welcome. He was placed in that opening speed competition too. Egolini is the ride for the USA's Evan Coluccio.
2nd in the accumulator last week at Washington with this horse, Egolini. Evan Coluccio. Evan for the United States of America with this British bred, Egolini. It's a pretty new ride for Evan, who was also on the podium in our welcome last night with Valdez. So 16 have made it through to the 2nd phase at this stage. This could easily be number 17 to go through. Taps the last, and he wouldn't have been the first to go out on the last, but he doesn't do so, but goes out of contention here almost immediately with the B element of the double down. Unusual to see that down. The way the class has developed, the A element has been much more the one at risk. So Evan Coluccio and Egolini with 4 in the 2nd phase, 32.01, just outside our top 10, 11th best at the moment. And that leaves us with 4 more to start here tonight in our TNR Developments 2 phase.
Had a great run through Michigan in summer months as well. Riding Esther de Mogre, the winning horse from yesterday for Colombia's Mark Blumen.
Winner at the meter 45 speed yesterday. What can they do here in the meter 52 phase? This is Mark Blumen for Colombia with Esther de Moget. "17 out of 27 have jumped clear in the first phase, but still only 5 double clears out of our starting field in the TNR Developments 2 phase. What can Mark Blumen deliver here as the course not only goes up those 5 centimeters, but becomes a little bit trickier as well as we inch closer and closer to the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup qualifier here tomorrow night. $213,000 in the prize fund for it too. It's a good spot into the double here from Mark Blumen, yesterday's speed winner. He's on the short turn. They probably just need to be out a little bit closer to that B element to come up on a true stride to the Phelps Media Group. Everyone who's been just those couple of yards away and has come up as short as they dare to the Phelps has had it down. The last goes as well for Mark Blumen. It's 8 in the second phase for yesterday's speed winner, Mark Blumen of Colombia.
8 faults though along the way for Mark Blumen and Esther de Moget. Another rider who's very, very quick against the clock is Hunter Holloway, proving that as second in the opening class of the Washington International Horse Show just last week, placed there in the Longines World Cup qualifier as well. Riding the Eastern Jam, Hunter Holloway.
Nations Cup rider this year at T-Bird in Canada. Been a World Cup finalist as well this spring in Leipzig. Hunter Holloway. Hunter here with Eastern Jam. Hunter, another McLean champion to be amongst our field of international jumpers here, taking that title in 2016, doing the double in the same year, actually winning the Washington Equitation in 16 and then the McLean the following week here at the National Horse Show. So Hunter looking set to give us another one going through to the second phase. Clear at the Rood and Riddle at the top of the course. It just slightly steps over it. Taps the front here. Out a shade wider than Mark Blumen. And picks up the Phelps. Clear coming to the last. Hunter Holloway, Eastern Jam, 31.45 to beat. It's there or thereabouts. It's 31.92. It will actually go into third. Charlotte Jacobs and Kelly Cruciotti van der Veen, both that little bit faster.
Separated by less than half a second. Charlotte Jacobs, though, still there out front. Kelly Cruciotti van der Veen in second. Hunter Holloway in third place. We're down to the final two. Still all could change, and including with this rider, Catherine Strauss, 3-time gold medalist through her young rider career, competing so well now at 5-star level as well. Bello HP is by Beluda away. It's the USA's Catherine Strauss.
Penultimate combination then is going to be Catherine Strauss. Catherine with her own Bello HP. Catherine, who is on the podium in the Nations Cup Grand Prix this spring at Thunderbird in Canada. Was podium in a 5-star Grand Prix at Spruce Meadows this year as well. returning visitor to the World Cup Tour here at the National Horse Show as well. A very, very successful rider through the North American Youth Championships. Setting up this line from the horse flight to the double, still on the 0 score in the first phase for Catherine Strauss. Straight out of contention in the second phase. Never actually looked like she was going to go inside the lamps anyway, but I'm sure she heard that pole falling and maybe made an adjustment to her plan. As it is, it's going to be 4 faults, and it won't be as fast as some because she's already taken one longer route. Here's another longer route. Catherine unfortunately has that red and white down as well. Second or third time it's gone in the division. And has an 8 fault second phase. Clear in the first phase, 8 in a time of 36.26 in the second phase. Top 20 at the moment for Catherine. So 20 of 29 have made it through to the second phase. Charlotte Jacobs went quite early on. Still our leader, Charlotte, was our 10th to see, and here is our 30th to see. The Nations Cup Grand Prix winner from Rotterdam this summer, Daniel Coyle, with the horse that gave him that victory, Oak Grove's Carlisle. It's his second 5-star Nations Cup Grand Prix victory in his career, having also been the winner previously at Thunderbird in Canada. In the USA, Daniel has been a World Cup winner at Thunderbird, at Deer Ridge and at Live Oak in Ocala, Florida. $31.45. This is going to go right down to the wire, this class. If Daniel feels it's the right thing for one of the top horses in his stable to have a bit of a cut at this meter 50 class tonight in preparation for the World Cup tomorrow, he'll do so. And that would be really threatening to Charlotte Jacobs and Rinkula Millshawn because, of course, this pair have a turn of speed. Proven it on some of the biggest stages in the world. He doesn't look like he's opened up the taps necessarily, but he gets a very good inside line to 9A, shifts across through the B element to be very smooth on his turn. And this horse will cover the ground. Now he's on Mark Blumen's line here, but Groves Carlisle makes a great shape over the jump, leaves it standing. 31.45 to beat. He's never even looked like he's trying, but yet you look up at the clock and he is well in front. 31.18, the last takes it. Daniel Coyle and Oak Groves Carlisle will have Aaron Navian be the national anthem played here this evening with victory for Ireland. Daniel, who was a winner last week in Washington as well, also helping share the honours in the Puissance last week at Washington too. But Daniel Coyle and Oak Groves Carlisle will take victory tonight for Ireland in our TNR Developments 2-phase awards coming up here on the stream. And of course tomorrow it's our big day. We work up through a day of hunters here at the National Horse Show. Then of course it's our Show Jumping Hall of Fame Junior Amateur Final, and then the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup Lexington. Daniel Coyle with the victory tonight. Charlotte Jacobs has to settle for second with Rinkula Millshawn, the Irish horse. Kelly Cruciotti van der Veen and Forever in third. Hunter Holloway fourth. Devin Ryan Hangover fifth. Roberto Tarantofour of Colombia and Santana are sixth. And it ended up just with those 7 clears. Alexa Pessoa and Carlito's Way are 7th double clear. Kristen van der Veen with the very fast 4-faulter Rodrigo was also faster than our eventual winner. So was Nick De La Joya. So was Shane Sweetnam. Zena Rizvi just behind, 31.35 with the 4 faults for 12th with Exquise de Pachy. And 4 faults, in fact, is going to take us right the way down to 18th in the result of our TNR 2 phase, which was the place taken by Jos Verlooy. We had just over 21 make it through to the second phase, and awards coming up here to wrap up Friday at the 139th National Horse Show.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, for the presentation, please welcome third place, Kelly Cruciotti van der Veen and Forever SFN. Runner-up position to Charlotte Jacobs of the USA, Rinkula Millshawn. He left it late, right down to the final one. Daniel Coyle for Ireland takes the win, riding Oak Groves at Carlisle. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's please ask you, if we may, to stand and remove cover for the national anthem of the winning rider, the national anthem of Ireland. Thank you very, very much indeed. Many, many congratulations to Daniel Coyle. He steps forward, and we're thrilled and delighted to welcome once again William H. Weeks, the chairman of the board of the National Horse Show Association of America, who is going to step forward to congratulate the winner of the TNR Development $37,000 International Two-Phase Competition. Ladies and gentlemen, Daniel Coyle for Ireland, Oak Groves, Carlisle. Well, thank you so much, Bill Weeks, presenting there. But it is time for that victory lap of honour as he leads away for Ireland, Daniel Coyle. It brings a close to competition for today. And of course, it continues tomorrow with the Hunter divisions and, of course, the Show Jumping Hall of Fame Junior Amateurs. And we're going to culminate international competition with that Longines World Cup qualifier of Lexington.